look, a candle's, not exactly the safest thing that I can be working with. You can purchase one of these melt warmers from your local department store or supermarket. They are fairly inexpensive. This is an electric version. I take 2 teaspoons of the soy wax out of that at the beginning of the week, and then I add half a teaspoon a day. So if you're writing a list of your intent, purpose and direction and things that you want to put on your wish list or things you might be releasing, you can pop this underneath your melt warmer as you do your candle, always placing things on a coaster so that we've never directly got it going on furniture. But this is very safe to have around children and pets as well, and it's something you don't have to babysit. I tend to sit with my candle when it's burning purely for safety reasons. So that's just a little insight into our lovely world of soy candles here at Amanda Hall Psychic, and we're going to take our very first caller, which is Mary Jo in Cynthia, Kentucky, USA. Are you there, Mary Jo?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Well, thank you, sweetie. Do you have a question I can work with?
Yes, I would like to see if we could contact my mother, Bernice.
Mary Jo, I always say to everybody each week on the show, there's no definite guarantees that we can connect with your mother because that's who you want to connect with on the other side. Unfortunately, I don't have a direct link, but what I can suggest to you is if you give me a direct question to work with, if your mum wants to interrupt and come through with a message, she will do so. That's the way I like to work. So do you have a question I can work with?
I'd like to know why
that's confusing.
I'm sorry?
I said, is there an area of your life that you need some more clarity on?
Yes, it took her 8 days to die, and she was trying to tell us something.
Right.
But we don't know what.
Okay. Again, you're asking me to try and tap into her on the other side, and I've explained to you that's not necessarily something I can do in this short space of time. It's up to her if she wants to make contact, and sometimes they don't want to make contact in such a public forum. I appreciate that, you and the family feel that there was something that she wanted to communicate with you and was unable to do so.
Okay, so can you just...
Is there another area of your life, though, that other than your mum's passing that's concerning you at the moment?
Yeah, I'm very unhappy, and I would just like to know, will things change? Is my future going to change?
Okay, all right, let's go into that. The first thing that I'm picking up there is there's definitely a lot of doors slamming shut. So to me, that's a number of endings, changes and transformations happening now, Mary Jo. It's almost like that you feel like you're at the end of your tether. It's like I can't deal with much more of this. I feel like I've got nothing left in the reserve tank to keep fighting with. Now, it's interesting because I feel that's how your mum felt at the end, like there was nothing more she could give to try and hang on. She kept showing me a rope, and it was like she was at the end of the rope. There was nothing more in her reserve tank to keep fighting. Now, what she's sort of sharing with me now, all as she wanted to try and say to you at that time was that I can't do this anymore. I've had enough. This is as far as I can go. There's nothing left in me to fight with. Please understand that. It's not that I want to leave you. It's just I've got nothing left to fight with. Now, that's not being disrespectful, and that's not saying she wanted to leave the family. It's just that's the message that she was trying to get through, that she just didn't have anything left in her to continue to put up this fight. I don't think she was ready to go. Yeah, I just don't think she was ready to go. She felt cheated. Would you say that's a fair assumption of the situation?
Yes, she was tired.
I know she was tired, but she also sort of felt she wasn't ready to go yet, but yet there was no energy left to fight this departure.
Yeah, she raised 10 kids by herself. but no help. She was tired.
Right, that makes sense. Well, she's telling me now. Go on.
She told us that she wasn't going to make it through the surgery, and
right,
a year ahead of time.
No. Okay, but I think right at the end she was still fighting to try and, keep going because she wasn't ready to go yet. But there was nothing left in her fuel tank to fight with. And what she's sort of saying to me now, even though you feel like there's nothing left in your fuel tank to fight with, there is. It's not your turn to sort of to leave the planet yet. But she's also showing me from next month, as early as next month, things are going to start to turn around for you. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to look forward to in this next 12 months, where everything has always been such a struggle for you, Mary Jo. Things are now going to start to ease off. Things are going to start to come towards you easily. And she's showing me a very, very big pink heart. So the only way I can interpret that is that there must be a lot of love coming into your life, love like you've never experienced before. So is there no one special or significant around you at the moment?
Yes, I have a husband, but it's like he had prostate cancer 13 years ago, and so it's like we're just two people living in the same house. Mm-hmm. We love each other, and we tell each other we love each other, but there's no affection, and Mommy always showed affection. Mm-hmm. Even though she had 10 kids, she was like an octopus. She always had her hand on us, stroking our hair or rubbing our back, or, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So,
yeah.
So I'm just so alone. I feel alone.
Well, she's showing me that you're not going to be alone in whatever way this pink heart manifests itself. And it's not just her, hugging you from the other side. She's physically showing me this heart is bigger than I've ever seen anything this big before, and as far as, showing somebody that there's love and affection and attention coming towards them. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean, that you're getting rid of your husband and you're bringing in someone new. I think there's going to be love shown to you and affection shown to you in other ways that will fill that void. But she's also sort of showing me that there's letters or communication or something of an official nature coming towards you that is going to bring a smile to your face. So I'm not sure whether you're waiting on an answer or something official, something government, but she's showing me that you're going to be very happy with what's in this letter. Is there something there that you've been waiting on?
No, not that I know of. I've just been waiting on my husband to get the... I've just been waiting on my husband to get the energy to want to live and do things. We have 4 grown kids and 19 grandkids, and we've never even had a honeymoon yet.
Right. Well, that'd be nice if you got the opportunity to have a honeymoon, wouldn't it?
Yeah, after 38 years.
Well, I suppose that would fit into the category of this giant-sized, oversized heart if you got that opportunity to take a honeymoon. I'm not sure what your mum means by that, but I know she's smiling down from above, and she keeps sharing with me that there's some really beautiful surprises to come towards you in this next 12 months, and you will feel loved and you will feel as if your life is finally starting to move forward. And she's showing me that, your spirit is going to be uplifted. So for that to happen, there has to be some positive things changing in your life to make you feel this way, Mary Jo.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope it's my husband feeling better. And
I'm sure that's going to happen, sweetie. That's where we're going to have to leave it.
He's the only one that can fulfill it as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't saying that there was a new partner coming. She was just sharing with me that you were going to have this opportunity for a lot of love and affection in the next 12 months, and it's going to make your heart very full.
He said when the last one turned 18, it'd be our turn.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to be 36.
Right.
So it's not been our turn yet.
No, but it will be your turn. Anyway, that's where we've got to leave it, Mary Jo. I'm going to take our next caller, which is Lila in Vernon, British Columbia. Are you there, sweetie? Isla, are you there, Isla? Oh, well, I'm sure we'll have Isla in a moment or two. I'll just keep talking until Isla comes to the phone. So, you know, it's been an interesting week astrologically. I'm sure most of you have had a fairly busy time with, you know, Leo dancing through all of our lives with all the planetary configurations. But make sure that you keep your patience hat on this week too, as people sort of try and take center stage. You know, we can't all be on the stage together and be in the limelight. We've got to share the stage with other people and allow them to have a turn as well. So it's a very interesting time ahead of us, and maybe Isla is now with us. No, not so far. Okay, so we'll keep talking about, she's there?
No.
Are you there, Isla?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question I can work with, sweetie? Yeah, do you have a question I can work with, please, sweetie?
I just want to know the direction I'm going, because I'm either going to retire or leave the job I'm currently in.
Okay. First thing that they're showing me is the symbol for change. So I'm taking from that there is a big decision to be made. I don't feel that you're going to stay in this current job, but I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready to retire yet either. I'm sort of seeing the opportunity to sort of take another job coming up towards late November, early December this year, and it's like a really big decision at whether you go that direction or do you stay where you are. But I feel that you already know the answer to that, is that where you are now is not fulfilling you. It doesn't excite you. You don't get out of bed and say, great, I'm going to work today. You sort of feel as if the energy around that job is slowly starting to come to a close. The next job, I feel, is a little bit closer to home, but I also sort of feel that you're working with much more in a positive sort of way. The people that you're working with have got a much more positive attitude. You really enjoy going to work. I don't think you're ready to retire yet. Not by a long shot. I feel the next couple of years there's going to be so many different opportunities and activities that are coming into your life that you almost feel like you're 20 again. It's a real resurgence of energy, which is a good thing. I don't feel that's necessarily a bad thing. But the other question I would put towards you, Isla, were you making changes to the home that you're living in or questioning about whether or not it was time to move? Is that something that's been going through your mind?
Yes, I am in the process of moving right now.
You're in the process of moving?
Yes, to another town.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's good, because I could see this, you know, thinking about moving and all those sort of things. I just think the next couple of years are going to be very exciting. I don't think that you're slowing down by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, I think you're going to get, your life's going to be fuller and busier, and, you know, as you open yourself up to new ideas and new people, and it just feels very exciting. So have you been working very consciously this year on your health, like sort of making changes to the way that you approach your life?
That's what I will be doing this coming year, because my daughter had a brain injury and I've been a caretaker, so that's what it's about me.
But in that time, did you sort of look at your own lifestyle and the way that you were managing your own health? Because you've had time to be able to look at that or think about it?
Yes, I have.
Well, that's good, because what they were showing me, whatever decisions or whatever changes or choices that you've made pertaining to your own personal health, they were showing me, keep it up, keep going, because you are on the right path. Even though the results or the rewards from that might have seemed slow, we are getting them. They are happening. So keep going with that, because I actually feel your energy levels are starting to come back to you, and it's sort of like everything in your body is now coming into balance. I think you've had a very stressful life in lots of ways, where you've never really had the time to be able to stop and catch your breath. And, you know, even though this has been a hectic year too, with family commitments and whatever, it's been a different sort of hectic where you've been able to catch your breath a little bit in pockets of this year. So this is good, because we've been finally able to, I think, release a lot of things that you've gathered over the years that you've held on to. I'll deal with that tomorrow or next week. Well, we've been able to deal with that and release it. And this is why your mind, body and soul, I believe, is coming back into balance.
That's so true.
Pardon me. And that's a good thing, because I feel that that's very, very necessary for you to be able to do that. And it's going to be important for pardon me, for you moving forward into the next, 2 years of your life with a lot more gusto and determination and really fulfilling and living your life to the fullest. And it's amazing. I feel very excited for you.
Me too, and thank you.
You're very, very welcome, but it's lovely to talk to you, Isla. It's always interesting when I think as individuals that we start on a different path, where we start looking at our health because we've got to a certain age and we've got a few creaky bones and things aren't functioning the way that we want to, or whether we just have the time to catch our breath and look at maybe some of the things that we've never had time to process or deal with before. So it's been an interesting 2019 where a lot of people that I've worked with around the world have been actually looking at trying to de-stress their lives and bring their lives more into balance. So if you haven't caught up with the rest of us doing that yet, maybe that's something that you need to be approaching and looking at as we head towards the end of 2019 and get ready for 2020, which has got a nice ring to it, I might say. So wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours, enjoy this next week. Make sure that you share the stage and the limelight with someone else. You can't hog it all just to yourself just because you think you're the most important person in your universe. There's always other people that are surrounding us and are important to us that also need to be acknowledged and given the opportunity to share the stage with us. So until next week, I hope the stage is big enough for all of you. Bye for now.
Hello, I'm Anna Olson. Thank you for listening to A1R Radio. Welcome to Insights into Consciousness. My website at the bottom of the screen, AnnaOlsonIntuitive.com. You can see me on iHeartRadio, Spotify. You just search for Insights into Consciousness, Anna Olson, A1R. Any of those will work. It's the number one. And I wanted to go over something that I'm really excited about. There's some news today that I wanted to give everybody, and that is that HBO, and we don't have a time frame yet. We don't have an exact date, which is kind of unfortunate, but there's a new HBO prequel to Practical Magic coming out. It's a 1-hour drama series based on Alice Hoffman's own prequel of the same name. So she did the book Practical Magic, and then she went on to do a prequel, which is going to be really fun to catch. I'm hoping it's good, and they don't have an exact time frame, but I'm willing to go in and get on the HBO just to see if I can watch this and see if I like it. So that's really, really exciting for me. And I know that a lot of other people have been really excited about that. Also, the moon is in Virgo now. So we're going to talk about the planets just a little bit. That the planets, there's going to be some other planets that are going to follow too. I don't go into too much detail on it because then it would take up the whole show to do all of that. So there's going to be a lot of planets in Virgo that's, as a Virgo, I always go into like, what are my traits? Well, one of them is that, there's a lot of attention to detail. So this might be a good idea to go in and organize, or maybe kind of look at what it is you really want to focus on and get clear about your intentions, because this is a time about clarity and kind of perfecting and getting into the detail of what it is that you want to manifest, or what it is exactly that you would like to really bring into your life and attract to your space, to your energy, and to your surroundings. So this is something that we get to focus on because we're all going to be dealing with those Virgo traits pretty soon with the planetary alignments and the moon currently. So that's the moon right now and the planets. I wanted to also go over something that I just recently taught a student that I'm teaching one-on-one, and that is tea leaf readings. So tea leaf readings, it's surprising to me how many people are not aware of tea leaf readings, that they exist, or the history behind them, how to do them. I did one with my student. It was a lot of fun. We took some pictures and we followed a couple of diagrams to see if those resonated with us. You can go online and see if there are diagrams that you can really align with that make sense to you. So in addition, the way you start a tea leaf reading, and these were done like back in Europe, way back in the day. So you grab some loose tea and you put it in, your hot water. You let it steep for a bit. You're going to have the person who's getting the reading done drink it, and leave about a tablespoon of that tea in the bottom where all the loose tea is. You're going to grab the saucer. So you're going to need a cup and a saucer. The bigger the cup, the better. And you just put the saucer on top of the cup, turn it over so that everything falls out into the saucer, turn the cup over and look into the cup. Now, these loose tea leaves, what they do are these little segments and these little pieces of this tea leaf will land at different parts of the cup, adjacent to where the handle of the cup is. So you'll be holding it, and when you look down into the cup, there's going to be a lot of different diagrams. You use your intuition. You see what it is that you see in the cup. Now, you can see, the last time I saw distinctly a fairy, it looked just like a fairy. This little tea leaf kind of curled up into the shape, looked just like a fairy on the end of a flower stem, a stem that went straight into a flower and the fairy on the flower. It was huge. I took pictures of it. It was very clear to both of us. So I wrote it down, and then I showed her and I said, what did you see? I didn't tell her what I saw. And I didn't let her see what I wrote down on my paper. She said, oh my gosh, I see a fairy on a flower on a stem. So you'll notice when you're doing a reading that two people will oftentimes get the exact same thing, and they'll see the exact same things. So when I've done readings like this and I've waited for the person to tell me what they saw, I already had in mind what I saw, and it matched what they saw. So intuition is intuition. Spirit is spirit. Spirit will give us the same message. It continues through readers over years. Truth is truth, and the accurate, true information through readings and through spirit is always accurate, always true, and always the same. Especially when everybody present is on the same frequency, vibe, level of positivity. So the really cool thing about tea leaf readings, the history behind them. Now, back in the day, centuries ago, many practitioners couldn't do readings because they'd be burned at the stake. They'd have to do these incognito. So what they would do is they would go to a public place to have tea. And the reader would meet with the client and would do a full tea leaf reading, looking like they were, just out in public having a cup of tea. So this originated kind of in Britain, Europe areas where they still do a whole lot of tea time, and they, will sit together and sip on their tea. So even like if their husbands came home, or someone's husband came home, or their children came home, or the parents walked into the home, they'd be just sitting at the table having their tea. Now, when we go back into time, there's a lot of different ways that people did other readings to stay incognito as well. Loose tea leaf readings are just one of those many types. So there's diagrams that will show you what means what in the cup. So the very bottom round part of the cup will mean, like the distant future, or the meaning of the entire reading, or kind of like the whole synapse of the reading will be the very, very bottom of the cup. The next level up, like if you were to imagine the cup having liquid at the bottom and filling it up to like the first 1/3 of the cup, that would be the distant future. If you filled it up to the next 1/3 of the layer of the cup with liquid, then that whole layer that liquid would also take up, the next 1/3 of the cup. Right along the middle would be the near future, and then the very top layer just before the lip of the cup would be the nearest future, or the next week or two, that give weeks, and then the very, very top is the present. So then around the handle part, dipping all the way down to the bottom of the cup, you would have different meanings to where the leaves fall there. It's all put in exactly the right place. And of course, everybody likes to use different diagrams, because when we do readings, readers are all very unique, and we find what works for us. So we may even mix this with something, like a card, or you could mix this reading with, card reading tarot. You could do angel tarot. You could do oracle cards, anything that you feel drawn to. But basically, the loose tea leaf reading is the most rare. It's not what most readers do. The people who do them are kind of special and unique, and most of the time they will have a visual or photogenic memory, because they really need to see things visually, and they learn best or read best with pictures or things that are visual that way. So it's a really fun way to have a reading. If you ever come across, a place or somebody who does them, it might be kind of fun to have it done, because you can see how they can look at the tea leaves and how they create different shapes. Sometimes like dashes will mean one thing, or a spiral will mean something else. And something that looks like an airplane may mean travel, for instance. So everything means something with the tea leaves. And it's a really fun way to get a reading, and sometimes to even practice yourself. If you wanted to, meditate and ground and really shield and protect and clear your mind and have a cup of tea and look in your teacup and see what you can find. It can be kind of fun just to practice and see what you get. It's fun either way. So on to what I want to do today. I'd like to do a universal reading, and what that is it's a reading where I take out the cards and I will start doing a reading for the universal consciousness. I am in California. However, the universal readings account for everyone. We are all affected by, as the world, a planet. If you think of the planet as a homeopathic entity, and if you think of the world as perhaps having its own spirit, or its body and spirit as well, we would be part of its body in a way where we work together and we make up what the world is made of, in a way that we all have a purpose to drive the earth. So we all must have a singular consciousness, a universal consciousness that is tied together. So we can go into a lot of studies and a lot of experiences with people where they have realized that when something happens that is a crisis in the world, that many people, especially the empaths around the world, will feel it before they even get the news brief. So we are all connected. We all have the same connection to the same source, and the same, God had the same spirit. And yes, we can connect and disconnect at will, but basically a reading for universal consciousness or purpose will be for anyone. So I'm basically doing a reading on my viewers as well. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. You're on another frequency. If it does resonate with you, then that part of the reading is for you. So I just get what I hear, what I have coming through, and what I see. And I do use the cards because it's a nice visual cue for me to focus on, just to kind of aid in not being distracted, like squirrel. So that's my way of, the cards really help me to focus and to meditate on the message being received through spirit. Now I'm shuffling now, and I'm just asking the guides and angels what it is in spirit, what it is that we need right now as universal consciousness. And the first thing that I'm getting is that we'll do mind, body, and spirit. So I will draw a card that will represent the mind, our minds, and what's going on with our consciousness, with what we're thinking. What are your thoughts? What are those thoughts doing? What is the purpose for those thoughts? Thoughts are very powerful, and all creation begins with a thought and the power of the word, because most thoughts also include words. And words are the basis of many, many creations, including the beginning, if you go back in the Bible, the beginning of the world, the beginning of the entire world, and all of the atmosphere and the water was the power of the word. So the thing that I am looking at here is the moon. So I'm getting the number 18. And I'm getting the moon. So it's basically a card depicting that masculinity is going to be taking a front seat right now, in a way of logistics and order. Now it's going to, now I'm seeing the moon, and I'm seeing this logistics and this masculine energy sort of surrounding the moon and keeping it in its place. That, really what I'm getting is that in the mind, the feminine energy, and we as women, we do better working with men peacefully, with allowing their logical mind, their ways of doing things to come into our world, and to really take it seriously, and to consider what men are saying in our lives. So when we have all these wonderful men in our lives who are putting in their 2 cents, or they want to give an opinion, or, when we have something that we're dealing with and we just want to vent, well, what if there's something they can suggest that will actually make our situation better? There's so much in psychology that goes towards, well, women just want to vent and talk about something emotional and be emotional for a while, and that's fine, but can't we too also, after we vent, ask them what they think and what they would do, and then actually take it seriously and do it? I don't see anything wrong with that. I see everything right with that. And that's what I'm seeing here, with things being so driven by women just acting emotionally, which is definitely half of the whole. But we have 2 halves to this whole. Half of that is the masculinity, and I know that right now we have a president that is a little bit strong-minded, to say the least. He is very opinionated. He has done and said some things that make women feel unsafe. But we have to remember that we do need the good men, and we need the men who are on our side, and the men who are trying to help, who love us, who are defending their families, and who have a lot to contribute. And we need to accept what they contribute, and we need to take it seriously and love them and be gentle and kind to them. And if we're having a bad day, say, I'm having a bad day, this has nothing to do with you, because men internalize. And when the male higher consciousness internalizes too much and is overwhelmed, what happens is the planet gets sick and our men check out. We need that masculine balancing energy to balance out the feminine. It's good to have the feminine, yes, but it's also good to have the masculine in balance. This doesn't mean let them rule your life or take over your life or abuse you. I would never say that. But at the same time, we need to be careful about how we're making men feel, and to really pay attention to what's going on with them and to allow them to do their part. I'm going to give a brief description of this card, the moon card, and I'm going to show it on screen because I know that some people are just listening to the show as well, not seeing the screen. But it is a moon. It's a picture of a moon with a rather mechanical device around it with something that looks basically like a clock attached to it, and it has different little keys attached to that. There is a crab that probably would represent Cancer, 2 wolves, masculine and feminine is in balance here, but there's definitely more of the masculine energy involved. So yes, it's depicting basically the moon, but this is what I'm seeing as a masculine energy. And I'm going to just hold up this card so that viewers can see the card. You have the moon, and then you have all of these more logic. I see these other items on the card as being very masculine, and the timing, the science, all the mechanics. If you think about men working under the hood or having their tool sets and things like that, not that women don't, but that is a masculine energy thing. So even when women do it, that's a masculine energy. So for mind, I'm definitely getting the balance of the masculine and feminine. Don't let masculinity scare you. Don't let masculinity piss you off. Don't let masculinity, we have to work together, and we have to, whether it's a woman with masculine energy or it's a man in your life, but I'm getting this is much more men, sons, making sure they feel respected, heard, making sure that, we nurture them. I'm really getting that it's important for us to make sure that we nurture them. Our issues as women, it doesn't mean that it's every man, and that if we've been hurt by men, we need to understand their energy more. So I think it's better to seek to understand them and the masculine energy more than to reject or block it and act or pretend as though we don't need it. We do. We all need it. The earth needs it. The universe needs it, both masculine and feminine. I'm seeing a little bit of a tip towards the feminine a little more right now, and that can be messy. It does throw things off. So think of the sun and the moon and how they work together. The moon is the female or the feminine. The sun is the masculine. We need both. The moon does not shine without the masculine energy of the sun. It does not work. It has to be both, and it has to be a balance, or things go wrong. Women need the protection of the masculine. It's a fact. So that's what I wanted to reiterate about the moon and the masculinity. So the second will be body. Now, this is really a wonderful card that I got for the body. I got the Lovers, and this just came up. I didn't pick it myself. I didn't look at it and pull it out. It is what I pulled. Now, the number for this is 6. So when we have the card for the Lovers, again, I'm seeing the masculine and feminine needing to connect. This doesn't mean like absolutely you have to have male-female relationship. I'm talking about masculinity and femininity in whatever human being it just happens to reside in. So it could be male-male, could be female-female, could be female-male. It could be masculine-female with a feminine male. It doesn't have to look a certain way that way, but I do feel, again, that this is depicting that the body, we need to respect that each sex has, I guess this is all about men and women in relationships. I know that I'm just going to like talk about how I just spoke with my mother about her clients, how she's realizing during her trainings, she's a therapist. She's a therapist in psychology. So she counsels people, and she was telling me that she went to her continuing education credit classes and things like that. And the new research is showing a very low in the 20s success rate of marriages currently in the United States. So originally we thought it was 75, then we thought it was 50, and now it's looking to be more like it's in the 20s, 23, 28 was what I think I remember her saying. I know it was in the 20s, but she thought it was not correct because it was so low, that these marriages are succeeding at a 23 to 28% level of success. And the 50% only represented the people who were legally married, not the people who were still legally married but separated. So we're looking at a big discord in marriages and with people being able to cohabitate and to get along. I'm seeing that we, with the body, we need to be respectful of the other person's space. So men need to not be controlled. Women need to be respected, revered, cherished, and loved. And, you know, women need to hear a lot of compliments about not just their appearance, but what they can do and what you appreciate about them. And, you know, I feel like we really need to respect the differences of men and women, masculine and feminine energy, that they're not the same. It's like living with an alien, and we have to accept that. We just have to cohabitate and really try to work through these differences, because what happens when we don't work through our differences, we don't learn anything. And then life gets harder, and then it's more uncomfortable. It could be more comfortable in the interim. And of course, this isn't including abusive relationships or something. I mean, if somebody is being violent, of course, you know, that's a different story. This is more about healthier relationships with some discord on things, you know, with things that can be worked out. I'm oftentimes surprised in my readings when I'm talking to people at what they don't want to put up with or work out with someone, something that is easily worked out with some work, some just allowing things to change or allowing things to go their way, the other person's way for a bit. You know, when I hear somebody complaining about, oh, they left their whatever I'm like, really? We're going to worry about this? So, you know, there's bigger fish to fry. There are other things for us to worry about. We need to grow up in our relationships. We need to be more basically drawn towards what's really important in life. What if this person wasn't here tomorrow? What would we do and say today to make their life good? What would we do and say today to have no regrets with this person? I'm going to do a close up real quick of the lovers. I have like 4 minutes left. So there's this card. This is the body. We need to be able to cohabitate with the person. There's a male and a female on the front, and it's actually really beautiful. It looks more Roman, maybe Babylonian. There's a beautiful moon. There's a couple kind of in the water, and it's pretty gorgeous. So that's depicting the body. Now, for spirit, I'm going to pull one more card, and then I will conclude this reading for universal. I'm getting the cups, the 5 of cups. So the 5 of cups for spirit, you know, this looks like a man praying. He's got his hands in the prayer position, and he looks like a knight in armor. There's cups all around him. Some are full, some are empty and on the ground. So it seems to depict to me that he is losing his resources and he only has a little bit to go, and he's praying for answers. So I think with a lot of our issues, it's good to ask for guidance. What is your deity? What is your way of worshiping? Do you pray to God? Do you pray to the angels? Do you, whatever it is, to ask for guidance from spirit? That this is very important for us spiritually, to go ahead and ask for that guidance. We don't have all the answers. We are running out of resources in a lot of ways. I see a lot of soldiers out fighting in the field. I see this as being, some of our soldiers are mothers trying to raise a child by herself, or some of our soldiers in this country or this world or whatever country you're in are soldiers who are just trying to get a job to feed their family. So really think about what it is that you need guidance for, that you don't know what in the hell you're doing about. You know, if you don't know what you're doing, ask for guidance spiritually. If you are hurting spiritually, you ask for guidance. You pray. This is the front of the card. There's the man. It looks like a knight in armor praying. And some cups are full in the back. Most of them are empty. and on the ground. So he's looking like he's really, really praying hard for an answer. That's the conclusion of this reading. I wanted to also go into the fact that I have classes that I can teach one-on-one, and I am running a special right now. You can go to my website. It's at the bottom of the screen, AnnaOlsonIntuitive.com, or you can reach me on Facebook, Anna Olson Intuitive. So I'm so glad that you listened to me today. Go ahead and email me. You can contact me on my website page or on Facebook with any questions. And I just really hope that I can hear from as many people as possible. I also wanted to go into the fact that I definitely do Reiki. I do readings. I also do medical readings. I've been doing those, and those have been going really well. I'm going to conclude my show tonight, and I just hope everybody has a wonderful week. I will see you next time.
Hi, I'm Mark. Thanks for watching Moonstruck. And now, back to A1R On the Air Psychic Talk Radio Now on Moonstruck TV, enlightening television.
Hello, welcome to the show. I'm Jacqueline. You're on Soul Star Radio. We're back at the South Yarra location in Turek Road. So, rather nice being here. Now, I'm joined today by the wonderful, very talented Roz Tilley. Now, she's an author and illustrator, and I'm going to call her a spiritual expert. There's a lot of things going on here. Certainly working with geomancy, geopathic stress, and essences, as well as this wonderful spiritual art, and does readings as well. So welcome to the show there, Roz.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
It's really good to have you joining us. Now, you've brought out a brand new deck that I've got here, and it's actually called White Elemental Oracle. I'm just going to put that up here. There we go. Whoop, there we go. Very strong image on the front cover there.
That is spondylus. All made from crystals. All the energy is channeled from the crystal, and then the image is drawn, and then I go to do the essences, and they're all there. Great for kinesiologists, healers in general, or readers. They're really powerful. The companion product works with your shadow side. Not a lot of people are ready to work with their shadow side, but Spirit knew what it was doing when I was kicked in the backside to make it.
I know that feeling, although not the feeling of actually crowning a deck yet, but certainly the feeling of dealing with both. So, because what we've got here is we've got literally the shadow and we've got the light. And so it's really quite an interesting dynamic of energy there, because you sort of really do feel the differences in the two. And people go on all the time about, I'm a light worker, namaste, away. And it's like, oh my God, so there's actually a real big need to deal with the shadow side. And so you've got that in that deck there. And you've also got another deck called Sacred 8 Tarot. Did you want to tell us a little bit about that at all?
So how the Sacred 8 Tarot came about was I worked on the Phoenix Standard Mind, Body, Spirit Festival, and there was not a deck around that gave proper instructions, but also a lot of the young ones, when I say young ones, into their 20s, they want to work with tarot, but they have no idea how it works. So this way, they can play with the channeled readings while they learn the tarot. So, and then, of course, the image on the front wasn't revealed to me until after it had been printed, but it's another layout that I use. This has also got the Kabbalah in it, and the Kabbalah is brilliant for healing. I've now gone on to do healing silks, and they are amazing.
Beautiful. Now, you're going to do a drawing today, and we've got the easel in the background. You can just see some paper there. Did you want to start with that, or
yes,
tell us, or you can talk as we go along?
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to channel an image up there. I have no idea what's coming through. It will be what Spirit wants on paper. It could be an image to go into the children's deck, which started last Saturday. Thank you, Spirit. So I will start. I will talk as I'm going through if I get any messages for anybody watching.
Anyone watching yet? And it can even be a message. You may find that what's happening here with Roz is there's a message or an image that has to do with the times we're in as well. So there can sort of be themes going on astrologically, energetically, but Roz will tell you more about that. And I'm just going to show you also, there's another deck here called Tree of Life. So this is a Tree of Life oracle. So it's quite a bit of an active career you've had there with your work there, Roz.
This started years ago when I learned to do this channeled artwork, and I asked what was I doing, and Spirit said, you're doing a tarot deck. And I said, no, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck. I'm not. I laughed when I did the tarot because it just made me giggle that they got their own way eventually.
Yes.
But this is my journey. When I teach this, you're learning the stories that go with these images.
Beautiful.
So you start off, and I teach this, and I love teaching it, with a rust-shaped football. And you can either blend it or leave it. I tend to blend it because I'm a control freak. So I can feel energy washing in. I can feel it coming from above the head. So for those of you watching, you may feel this actually coming in over your head. Be open to receiving it. There's also a lot of love coming in with this. I can feel it. I've just gone goosey. So the aqua for me is a light form of protection. So you can see that's coming in all over the top. Just give it a bit of a neck. While I'm doing this, it's coming through, they're talking to me, do this, do that, and I just listen. At this stage, it's female, but that can change. So when I look at this, it's very serene with no eyes on. If I were to leave the eyes closed like that, it would be about going internally,
Yeah.
But she wants eyes on. So it's a little bit like having somebody doing in my head.
Mm.
So there's another layer of something coming in over her head.
And it's really about trusting where the pastel needs to go, which colour where, and not so much the technicality of design too, isn't it?
Yes.
You're having to listen to that. And one of the things I found with students when I was teaching them years ago with intuitive art is if they started to try to intellectualise, which is not what you're doing, but, oh, no, it has to be this way, oh, their eye shouldn't look like that, that's not technically correct. It gets in the way of the message. And the message is really about the symbolism, rather than exactly how just so something should look.
I used to worry about it, and in this first deck, I had an issue around the nose, and I said, what is it with your nose? And he looked back at me and said, I've got a nose ring, don't judge.
Yeah.
And at that stage, I didn't like tattoos and I didn't like any form of piercing. I've got over it.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, they kick your butt.
Yep. Oh, yeah, we know that one. I used to find my students would actually pick up the pastel, and if they were picking up the wrong pastel and not listening, and they're instead judging what that should be, sometimes the pastels would actually crumble in their hands. So you find that yourself with people?
And you drop them.
Yeah.
So the yellow for me is creativity, and that's speaking of third eye creativity. And I'm just connecting with her to see what she wants now. There's something coming in here. It's green. Is it green or is it aqua green? That's this thing, which is, I don't know. So this is swirling energy. So you could look at that and say, is this water? So you could look at it and say maybe there are 8 swirls on that. Mm-hmm. 8 for me is abundance. I am an 8, so I resonate with 8. She's just about finished. Yes, she's complete there. I've just got to finish her eyes and play with her lips. Which again, if I were to be critical, I wouldn't be able to leave them. It's not my mouth of twos. Yep. So we leave it alone. So now this is what I call the focal point where, yes, we've got a drawing here, but if you watch the eyes, you'll actually see her emerge. And now she's just jumped out. And these eyes will follow you around the room. Okay. She is now complete.
Beautiful. So tell us about this energy and what you've got there.
Okay, let's see what she's going to tell me. So when I look at this, I see a sadness. I see a deep soul hurt. There's obviously something going on a heart level. So it's about protecting. If anybody out there is thinking, oh, I've just been hurt in the heart, please pull that in over the front of you and know that as you go internally, you can heal.
Yeah.
Yellow over the third eye is the creative colour for me. So, again, go and do something creative for yourself. Not for anybody else. Take yourself out. If you're a mum at home and you've got kids, find that time for yourself, whether it be to go and sit at the park, sit and look at the trees. Find that time. Again, now when I look at that top, it could be the top of palm trees.
It can even be mountains.
Yes.
And I can actually see a face in the profile over here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So you can sort of see that kind of, movement, just a lot of movement in the picture.
So, yes, you could look at even the colour of that right around the aqua as emotion.
And washing things.
Water.
Yep.
And that creative is all over the face. So from dealing with your spirit and creativeness, it'll take you to another level. Do your crying and get over it.
Yeah.
Pull your beautiful pink in over your head, pull your own self-love in and shuffle through everything.
And it's interesting because as you were drawing, I was actually pulling out cards. So the card that I had that first came up was actually this one here, and that's from your Tree of Life Oracle deck.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us about that card, Paul?
Okay, so when I drew this card, I wasn't really sure about what it was talking about, but as I've got to work with them, this pink over here, this swirling energy here, can be a birth. If anybody's come to me for a reading and wants to know when their baby's coming, it's coming. The yellow is a comet, so creatively comet yourself forward. There is also gold in there, so you've got that golden highlight, that beautiful spirit bringing in the best for you. So, yeah.
It's interesting because it's literally pulling these cards as you're drawing. So I've got that from that deck. And then over from the Sacred 8 Tarot, and before you even said about the 8, this was the card that was coming out, and it's actually the Strength card from that deck. Beautiful. As we've been saying, Roz and even with the cards I've been pulling, but Roz has been doing a reading just generally for out there who needs it at the moment and how that comes across. So it can even be of the energy at the moment that we're in, which we can all be experiencing different layers and different levels of. So there's that 8, the strength card. Do you want to tell us about that particular image and how that relates in your deck, in that particular deck?
So the strength here, to me, they're all crossing over. It's another layer of it. If you've got people out there that are doing brilliantly, know that it's going to improve. We don't just want to talk doom and gloom. But the other side of it, again, if you're having a rough time, and I think we're still in Leo now.
Yeah, we are.
So you've got that, the main and the dramatics that go with it, but the strength is there. So pull again on that inner strength. I believe the planets out there at the moment are really doing harsh things, and normally I don't feel it, but I feel like I've been bashed.
Yeah.
But get up every morning and keep pushing through, because you're just being tested planetarily. So your 8 is abundance. Know that you've got it. If this has come out today, then there's got to be a reason for it. The strength of the lion. Now, if any of you are into vibrational essences, I actually have made white lion essence. And I was asked in Japan, I teach in Japan, I was asked, could I get white lion? And of course, out of my mouth comes yes. And I go, oh, can I? Well, I must be able to. Spirit said yes. So I manifested a wedding in Mansfield. There is a Mansfield zoo that has white lions. So I now have white lion essence.
And so that's Mansfield in Australia, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, there you go. So out of all the places we could end up, there was a white lion. So how do you make an essence? For those who are like, what are you talking about essences? How do we make essences?
Okay, so normally full moon, sometimes new moon. I've only ever made one in the sun, and that was because there was dove there. So when, it's funny you've got the Japanese one there.
Came out.
What I do is I'll have a clear glass, just a glass of Pyrex, clear glass. I put spring water so it touches the dish, and I pop the dish in to the glass.
Yep.
Then I put the item in here. Then I put a lid on it, and that keeps it clean, because our health regulations here are over the top, and I respect that.
Yep.
And I put it out in the full moon. I make sure that it's out in the height of the full moon. If it's at midnight, I'll put it out 2 days in a row, 2 nights in a row, I should say. Then I bring it in and I tip 50 mils of that into a 100 ml bottle, and I add 50 mils of brandy.
Yep.
The rest of the water that's in the glass dish, I gift back to the earth, because Mother Earth has gifted it to me. And then that goes into a remedy, into a stock bottle, and then from stock bottle to remedy. I use these essences on the land. The white and black oracle all have an essence for every card. So, yes.
So about this card, because that's the other one we pulled out, or rather Jacqueline pulled out while you were drawing, pulled out one of your cards while you were drawing. So tell us about this particular card, which I'm trying to angle correctly. There we go.
So this is a Japanese crystal that's come off, and I would have to look at the book to remember what island, but it's an island that is very sacred off Japan, and they have beautiful crystals that are actually energized in the water on the full moon. They also collect salt, I'm pretty sure, from this island as well on the full moon. So this I didn't realise until I'd finished it and it's printed, and I looked at it and I thought, oh my, that is very much like Japanese art. So it's got that playful energy of it, but it's a shifter and shake of that card.
Absolutely. So what we might do as well is, if we can, we'll pick one out of the shadow deck as well, because we're certainly going through a lot of that at the moment.
So also I'll tell you, these have both got the same top card, so they've both got that on the top, and you can interact the decks or you can overlay them, so you've got a double reading, so to speak.
And I've drawn here let's see where we are. Okay, so you want to pick out 3. So the one I've picked as singular, rhodochrosite, and of course we've been talking about healing the heart, and of course rhodochrosite is pink.
Yes.
We've got the one on the other side, because apparently this is a 3-deck spread, 3 spread, anyway, that thing is Amazonite. And then the other one is, of course, black tourmaline. And, of course, in a shadow deck, I picked this trifecta there. So do you want to tell people who don't understand those about that? And look, I'm going to go that way. There we go.
Okay, so which way do you want me to start?
Maybe the first one.
Okay, so this one is interesting. This is the only drawing that I had done, and it's not on black paper, but it needed to go in. So this one speaks of hearing. So this is the left side, your spiritual side. There's a new sort of healing coming in for you. You've got this almost a temple sitting over the top. So basically hearing that this beautiful bright orange colour to lift your energy. Rhodochrosite is definitely about love. Now this is what the crystal looks like. They all did their own thing as I drew them. So if you look here, she's got some of her head missing. That's your masculine side. So there'll be a little bit there that you need to adjust, you need to get stronger. That can be that your masculine is weak, or it means that you need to be stronger around the masculine. If you are a male watching this, exactly the same thing. You might need to be stronger around men.
Yep.
You might be a soft, gentle person, so you need to find that deeper, stronger part of you. The black tourmaline, this was interesting, and I find it fascinating. I've had this crystal for years, and I bought it for somebody else, and she decided she didn't want it. Spirit decided I needed it in this deck. So this is about yay big, and when you can see it, there's lines on it, but it's really angelic. So it's a protector. If you're having difficulty sleeping and you know there's somebody in the bedroom at night or somebody around you, put that under your pillow, put it under the bed, and that's the beauty with these cards. They will work for you overnight. Has that explained it?
Yeah, that has, yep. And this one here we've got, which one was that one? That was the Amazonite, yeah. So when we're dealing with those in the shadow perspective, it's sort of taking you into, all right, so what's missing or what are you not dealing with, rather than being fluffy like decks that say, hey, you're really good, it's great, everything's fine. No, here's what to work on. Let's do some real stuff here. So it's really quite powerful in that image. And also, when we're looking at the image on this side, do you want to tell us about what inspired that?
That is really interesting. Now, that drawing had been done for probably 10 years. So it started off under here was white. And what I wanted to do was play with the layers. So I sprayed in between and did it again. I had what I thought were 3 faces.
Yep.
This turned out just to be a bun on the top. And then when you look into this is your fire.
Yep.
This is the earth, the rocks. You've got your sky and you've got your water. There's a waterfall here. And the more you look into that, the deeper it takes you. So I was doing a bit of a photo shoot for Japan, and I just went in. I didn't want to put any of these images up because they weren't printed. So I went into the healing room, pulled this off the wall, and been there for years, popped it on the easel and took one look and went, oh, that's the upside of the deck.
Yeah.
So then when I knew, Spirit had told me there was a white deck to come, I knew that it had to have this top on it. So that is now, those 2 are now being used with my moon cycles. So I'm doing essences to let go with the full moon and to bring in with the new moon. So that's another one of my later, about a month ago things.
It's always interesting that, like, as we get older, we look at how we can, all right, I've only got this much time left. I've got to quickly get onto this. And so there's a real sort of sense of drive and purpose in the work you're doing now.
Absolutely.
Sort of running to a timeline now.
Yes.
And I think the thing is that when we're on purpose and on track, that can sort of feel that sense of urgency. So with very young people who sort of want to do it all now, I sort of urge that patience because there's still a lot to learn. But once you get up in age and get a little bit older, it's like, got to get onto it now. So the focus really comes in. So it's been beautiful having you join me today and share your wonderful decks and art. Is there anything you wanted to say as a final summation of the energy at the moment for people?
Hang in there. Yeah. Hold tight. I feel teary as I say that.
Yeah.
Because I can feel.
Yeah, I know.
There are quite a few of you out there struggling. Stay strong.
That's it. Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back same time next week. In the meantime, we're going to send you a lot of love and healing and light throughout the day. This has been Soul Star Radio. Keep with us on A1R Radio for more psychic TV this afternoon. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
G'day, Tonya Reeves, Australia's Psychic Cowgirl, here at Sunday Creek in Victoria, Australia. So yeah, I'm at home at the moment. I won't be next week. Next week I'll be on the road, but I will be coming at you from somewhere here in Australia or possibly, I think, South Australia. So that will be cool. We'll be heading to, let me see, we're going Tailem Bend, not this weekend, but the one after. So I'm happy to catch up and do some readings while I'm over there. I'm kind of putting it out there at the moment. Tailem Bend, Murray Bridge, yeah. So, yeah, I'll be visiting. So we're actually going over to watch the supercars. So the V8 cars are on there, and I actually don't remember if I've been to Tailem Bend, maybe passed through. Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I'm excited to go. So we'll have a great weekend, and it'll be great connecting with you all over in South Aussie. Yay. So we're a bit excited. Can't wait to hit the road and have an adventure. So I hope you've all been well. Let's see what's been energetically this week. Again, we're in a kind of same zone that I spoke about last week. So we're still having a lot of people facing challenges, making decisions around letting things go. I'm sure a couple of our readings today will again follow suit with that, because it seems to be a really common thread. So I will share that. So it's about staying in your personal power. And like I was chatting to my fellow medium, Jacinta, who I do the women's retreats with here at Sunday Creek, and we were chatting about it this morning, and I had a great insight from her about, trusting. And it's funny, it's something I'm really, really aware of, being able to trust the process. It's my favorite hashtag. You'll hear me tell many in my readings about just trusting that inner guidance. But I still need to be reminded of it. And it was a great conversation that we had this morning about just trusting. And yeah, I actually wasn't aware that I didn't place full trust until we had the conversation. So sometimes it's really good to nut ideas, suggestions, and anything to do with your life, with a friend and come up with some different solutions, because quite often a different perspective can help us clear the way and almost still identify those blockages that we all know exist within us, but sometimes it's not till a situation comes up that triggers us. So, triggers can be a reaction to something. So it can be something small that you're reacting to. Sometimes where you have a situation and you go, why am I reacting to that in this way? So it can be something really trivial. Someone might have said something, or you might have gone to do the same thing you've done every day and you've somehow found yourself mystified by things going on around you. Have a look at that, because that will be the universe's way of showing you where you need some more healing and awareness around your subconscious blockages. Because we want to be able to have that inner happiness and peace, and remember to embrace that. And, I know for me, I get so caught up in doing stuff that I forget about it. And I just think, I think we all forget about it. So that's why I love to utilize the radio here, just to remind you to spend some time on you and, build yourself up. So sometimes this can be, I went and did a great cooking class this week. I bought a pressure cooker and I find them quite fascinating. And since buying it, I've heard all the advantages to cooking things quickly and retaining nutrients. And I love it because it's easy, because I think sometimes I find cooking very relaxing, but when you get busy and there's not enough time, I like it to be quick and easy. And I found that the pressure cooker was great. We had a fabulous teacher, and it was just wonderful to connect with a group and learn something new. I learned a few things, how to cut onions better than the way I do. It's something as simple as that. I was like, oh, wow, that's a totally new way of doing it. And, so I encourage you to do that. And you'll often hear me when I'm giving readings on the radio, go out and do a class. Keep learning. It could be learning to dance. It could be doing something creative like painting or pottery. Anything that gets you out of your head and into the fun side, the imagination side, the learning new things, because we can all do with learning. And I think that's a gift that is often underrated. So go and learn something new. If nothing else, you have fun with a group of like-minded souls. You get to meet new people and we get to interact. And I really think that in some cases is what's missing in life for some people, is that connection to others. I sat next to a lovely lady. She was a lot of fun. We had laughs. We both relate to being scared that our pressure cooker was going to blow up, So, we just had fun. And, I think in anything that you do that's new surroundings, and I'll often take myself off to things like that on my own, because I get to meet other people and new people. So we need to embrace that. So even if you're the sort of person that sits at home and you can be a bit reclusive, just go out and learn something. It's brain food. We all need some brain food to keep our brains active, something different. All right, that's my blurb for today. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to go on to my first caller today. I've got Carla in Sylvan Lake, Alberta, Canada. Yay, Canada.
Hello.
How are you, Carla?
Oh,
how are you?
Fabulous. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Thank you for calling in. Now, is there something you wanted me to focus on today?
I would like to know if there's any of my loved ones around.
Great. It was funny, I was just chatting about that this morning, saying, I can't wait to connect to Spirit today. Okay, so obviously you've said loved ones, so we know that there's a few in Spirit. I want to first address, there's a couple of ladies coming through together, and I feel like I want to go to almost a feeling of like mum and sister, or they're not far apart in age. So let me get some more info. They're actually characters. So they've got a good sense of humour and a good sense of fun. And I want to acknowledge that you have this as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I'm making the most of every opportunity to have a good laugh. So would this be your mum and auntie in spirit?
No, my mum is living.
Okay. So where are the two? These are two. I feel like I want to go to two sisters in spirit. And it's almost like they're on one side and then we've got the gentleman coming through on the other. So it's like both from different sides of the family.
I'm sorry, you're saying a gentleman and a woman from different sides of the family?
The two ladies are from one side of the family and there's a gentleman coming in from the other. He's not related to them as in possibly through marriage, but not genetically related, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. I can't think of the two women at all, to be honest, the sisters.
Yep.
I'm doing that thing where I'm like, what? Drawing the blank. I need a little more, I would think.
Yeah, look, I'll get some more info as we go, but now we've also got the gentleman stepping in, and I feel like he's the main one that's stepping in around you, and it's almost like he's your protector. And I feel like you sense him around, or he's referring to that. There's something around a letter A. He's flashing up an A, and I'm not 100% sure that fits with his name, but it's like the A is in reference, and it's in cursive writing.
It's in what?
Cursive writing. So, like it's not just a normal A, it's like in a scroll. Yeah.
But
I feel like that's relevant.
There isn't anything, like I have a male family member who passed and his middle name starts with an A. And then probably the male gentleman I'd hope to hear from the most, an A. I can't think of what.
Right. So the gentleman that you're hoping to hear from, is this a partner? Because I feel like there's somebody that's quite connected. There is an older gentleman, but there's somebody that's closer to your age who passed suddenly.
Oh, my gosh. No, I haven't lost a partner.
Okay. All right. Because somebody it's almost like he's around your age. There's something in reference to the older gentleman, and maybe this is towards grandfather. He's the protector, but this other one that's sort of coming through was like younger and passed, almost like passed before his time is what he's showing me.
Yeah.
There's a few of them up there.
I know. I have like a cousin. Like I have a couple cousins who passed young, like definitely before their time. And then I, of course, have some friends pass too.
You have who's passed as well?
Pardon me?
Who did you just say then is the last one who's passed?
I've had some friends pass, but I haven't had like
direct family members. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like there's something around. I'll go into what they're showing me because there's something around a message that I need to get through to you. There's something around you taking a look at what you're doing at the moment, and I almost feel like there's a change warranted. And the way that they're coming through with that, it's like there's something exciting for you, but we're not on the right track yet.
Oh.
Have you just changed tracks, or have you just changed paths? I feel like I want to go to. I'm being guided to swap something.
Well, I haven't changed what I'm doing, but I added something in, like something that should benefit me health-wise and benefit others health-wise. So I'm wanting to stay on the same track.
Right. And that's quite spiritual based as well, yeah?
Yeah.
because that's what up to you. Okay, there's something around that. What you've stepped into, that I feel is right, and it's like that part of it's fine, but there's something else that needs to shift for you to step fully into that. So I feel like there's just something stopping you right at this point in time.
Yeah, well, I need to actually do what you do for readings, and I need to change. I need to change them because I'm getting too much info and they're getting too long. So I actually need to figure out how to make them shorter. Essentially. So I think that's probably what they're referring to.
Yeah, because it's like there's all this amazing stuff, but it's like I do want to go to a little bit like you're holding yourself back. So it's almost like, and it was a bit like that earlier message that I said, we have to sometimes surrender and trust. And it's almost like that's where you're at. The more you let go of what you think it needs to be, the more it's going to step in. And it's almost like spirit come to you and they throw you off guard a bit. And it's they're laughing because it's like you've got, like, you're quite talented and you've got it all within you. You don't need to go and even learn anything, but you're a little bit fearful of stepping fully into it. So I'm feeling like I'm dipping my foot in the water, and I'm like, I know I'm on the right track, but I'm scared to jump into the water.
Yeah, well, and I think too, like, I have a good clientele, and I'm nervous that they're not going to like the changes too, right? Like, they're used to my cards, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to dip them because my readings are too long right now. Like 2 hours is ridiculous. So I need to
absolutely
ditch them. Yeah.
Look, and you will get that easily. It's almost like I just want to put it out there and say my bookings are an hour and that's it. And it's like letting spirit know that's where it's at. I'm starting here and I'm finishing there. And I know when I started, it was the same. And it's like you get into the zone, so you're not even aware of time. And I had to do the same. I had to say, Spirit, I've got 15 minutes. Give it to me quick because I don't have, a longer time frame when sometimes I'm doing shows and things. So for you, I just feel like you need to just declare that and say, okay, Spirit, I've got this amount of time, give it to me as I need to. There's also something with aligning with you. I want to go further afield. So I don't know where you're currently reading, but I want to go and connect with others. And I almost see you doing similar to me in that you're doing retreats as well, where you're getting the spiritual-based people together and we're linking and we're creating groups.
Yeah.
So it's like that will be a great thing. And it's almost like people connect with you and they want more of it. So it's like even after having a reading, they still want to reconnect with you. Like it's not that they need another reading, but they want to more or less be in amongst your presence. So it's like a real credit to you because what you bring to the table is great.
Thank you. Yeah, they almost become extended family.
Yeah. You're brilliant at trance. I see you like trancing, so I'm feeling like I'm morphing into something. So almost like when I get connection, I almost feel like I merge quite strongly with spirit for you. And it's interesting that when you've rung in today about connecting with your, those in spirit, I often find sometimes when you do this work, your protectors and guides are quite strong for the connecting medium to go through. So sometimes it's like we have to prove ourselves even more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. But I still feel like you've stepped into the, with the readings and things, but you're still going to step up into them more and there's going to be a slight variety. So I almost feel like I don't know whether you're already out there, putting yourself out there in like psychic, I don't know, like we have over here markets and fairs and things that a lot of psychics go to. It's like I just want to put myself out there being you.
Yeah, I'm actually just started doing one social kind of thing down at the lake. Yep. But I have to start the proper gathering, I guess, where I feel like I fit. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little particular, I guess. With I'm not a fan of certain gatherings. I don't want to offend anybody,
definitely.
but I'm kind of particular.
I totally get that, what you're saying.
Like stuff in the light, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
You know what
I've got to go on to my next. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. You've got to. I've done it before. Sometimes where I've gone, I didn't feel in alignment, but I've pushed myself to do it. Then I've looked back and go, I should not have done that. So you're spot on with that. I've got to go on to my next caller, but I'd love you. Please contact me on my Facebook page. I'd love to connect more with you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, shoot me a message. That'd be great.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries, Carla. Thank you. All right, I've got to go on to my next reading, Lauren from Christiansburg, Virginia. Lauren, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I've got a grandmother for you. Does that resonate, a grandmother in spirit who you were close to?
I do not have a grandmother in spirit I was close to.
You don't?
No.
Okay. Well, I've got an older lady who I feel had a close connection to you. She felt very grandmotherly. She's not very tall, and it's like she's stepping in to give me info for you. So I'm not sure exactly where she fits, but I'll get a bit of information off her.
Okay.
Maybe we're a great grandmother. I feel like I want to go to Mum's side though with her. All right. So you've got talents that you haven't stepped into yet. So I'm almost like, I feel like I'm making decisions around what I'm going to do for work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm weighing up at the moment. But I almost want to say to you, there's something totally different to what you're thinking of. So is there a couple of things that you've been weighing up as far as stepping into?
Yes, a few things regarding my future, like with my work, my twin daughters, future partners, things like that.
Yeah. So you got twin daughters. How cute.
Yes.
You're very cute. Big eye. I can see like big eyes. I'm like, but and they're very interconnected, which quite often twins are. You're quite in tune psychically, and they are the same. So it's almost like they're very gifted. The twins, I want to say, very. It's almost like they're sort of very wise. I just feel like they watch a lot of things and take notice and observe things, and it's almost like they can see more than just what we see with our eyes in this human world. But they get that from you. In regards to your work, there's something around a change and an opportunity coming up that's going to change your work and where you are at the moment. I want to go to what they're showing me with that is that we're not 100% happy. There's a few things that don't really sit right with you at work, and we want to change that up. So it's almost like there's something that's going to come in that'll enable you to do something different. And I want to say it's totally different to what you've done before.
So I'm currently, what's different from before is I'm currently working factory work. I do enjoy it more. I do enjoy the type of job more than I'm used to. I'm used to like customer service, retail. I do enjoy it more than that. But I'm just hoping I'm able to excel in what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like that's not where you're going to stop. So it's like I'm moving into something else. So there's something, but I feel it is different to what you're doing at this right now. It still might be within the same company, but it's like being offered something else. And I want to say something with a bit more flexible hours. So it's almost like I feel like with this opportunity, it's like you're going to go, wow, that suits me so much better.
Yes, I definitely need that.
Yeah. It's like it just, like it's, of course, having children and working, it's a juggling act. Where is the father of the twins?
I'm not seeing him currently.
No,
he does help me with caring for them and taking care of them. He does help in that sense, but he lives 2 hours away.
Yeah, that's because I felt like he's not with you. So it's like, I'm a single mom. I'm on my own. And it's like that. It's almost like it works better now that you're not together than it ever did when you were together. So things happen for a reason. But there's also somebody around you. So I want to say, like, are you in another relationship now, or there's somebody's around with potential to be in a relationship with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of, when I connect with that, I'm a little bit excited.
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely different from what I'm used to, and a lot better in the sense of for me and my kids.
Yeah. And he's very caring, and he's got a big heart, and he really wants to look out for you. And he's not, I want to say, with connecting with him, he's very selfless. So he would do everything for everybody else, and totally different to your past partners who probably weren't like that, or I don't feel that was, they prioritized themselves. This one, he prioritizes everybody else. And he has a lot of unconditional love within him. So it's like he would take on the twins like they were his.
Yes, that is spot on.
Yeah, he's awesome. So you've done very well there. The two of you, there's going to be some really, I see you two building from foundation. So it's almost like what they're showing me is there will be a coming together and the two of you growing. And it's almost like I feel like I'm growing my wealth together. So I'm like getting my house and then having another house. I even feel like I want to say there's a lot of success in your union. And I feel like, what Spirit's showing me is that when the two of you met, there was this coming together. And I feel for the two of you hadn't felt that way before with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
I do
so
have
cool.
one question.
Yeah,
if that's okay. Kind of like back to the subject on the older woman, the one that kind of took like a grandmother's place. What are you kind of getting from that?
It's like she was excited to connect with you today. So that's why I felt like she was very relevant and almost like she's your little guardian, and she's a powerhouse. So she's very hardworking, very much like you. But I do want to say with her coming forward, it's like she puts her arms around you and she wants you to know that it's all going to be okay. So I feel like whether there's been something in the back of your mind you've been worrying over, I want to say it is going to work out and be okay is what she's telling me.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, so it's like, don't worry, don't feed into the worry. It's not, how we catastrophize things in our head. Don't do it because it's not going to be relevant to you. So just let it go and connect to that feeling that I am fine, this is going to be great, and I can get through this. I'm very strong, is what she's showing me. So it's like she's a healing element here.
Yes, I had lost my mom when I was 17, and I'm 21 now. Yeah, and I lost her. She had gotten cancer, and it's been really hard for me these past couple of years, and it's been on my mind quite heavy, especially after having kids a couple of years later. And I think that might be where the grandmother's place comes in.
Yeah. And don't doubt your mum will be around you as well. She will be giving you signs, like being the family person that she was. She'll connect through the children. I feel like I want to say one of the children's like mum. Now, I'm going to get wrapped up. Please message me on Australia's Psychic Cowgirl and I will continue some info for you, Lauren.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for ringing. I've got to run. Australia's Psychic Cowgirl signing off. Woohoo!
to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. It's a beautiful crisp winter's morning here, so we'll keep the show moving along because I don't want to get too cold, and I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic week wherever you are around the globe of us. Now, this week we've got the Simply Tarot card of the week is the Hanged Man. Now, this is one I don't think we've featured on the show very often. It's the card of getting stronger in oneself. After a lot of deliberating and delaying, you're finally on the right track. And one of the things that my students always ask is, isn't the card upside down? No, he is meant to be hanging upside down. He's not meant to be upright, because this is where you're starting to get stronger in yourself, because you're starting to look at things maybe through a different set of eyes, or finally just coming to the truth of the matter of the situations or the issues that you've been dealing with after you've deliberated and you've delayed on it and you've looked at it from every possible angle. You finally know that you're on the right track and you can proceed forward with great gusto. So this week we're sort of moving into a very big astrological event, and I mean, for those of you that watch the show regularly, you know I quite often talk about the moon. But this week on August 30, I was nearly going to say November 30. I'm trying to wish the year away, and I'm not, but we won't do that just yet. So on August 30 this year, what is known as a dark moon or the black moon. Now, for those of you that don't have a clue what I'm talking about, what this means is that we've had 2 new moons in one calendar month, and that's why it's called a black moon or a dark moon. Some people are talking about it as being a super moon. Look, I don't get too excited when they sort of write up about it's a super moon, or, you know, it's sort of like the moon is the moon. The emotions are the emotions, and the emotions are what governs us as human beings. And each month we have one full moon and one new moon, and sometimes we have a second full moon, which is the blue moon, or sometimes we have a second new moon, which is the black moon, or the dark moon, which is what's happening this month. So the new moon or the black moon this month is in Virgo. So it's interesting because it's going to ask each and every one of us to delve into our emotions, and it's going to ask us to put our Virgo hat on, which means that we've got to be logical, practical, we've got to pull everything apart. It's like we've got to analyse every single solitary thing that's going on in our lives. Now, for some of us, it's going to be a very confronting new moon, because there's going to be so much other activity in Virgo. We've actually got a plethora of planets sitting in Virgo. So I just want to quickly run through those that are joining the new moon on the 30th of this month. And bearing in mind, all these planets are holding hands. It's like they're all in a row. So we kick it off with Mercury, the planet of communication, is holding hands with the new moon. Then the new moon is holding hands with the sun, which is where our ego and drive comes from. The sun is holding hands with Mars, the planet of action and you know, making us get up out of bed and sort of want to be motivated. And he's holding hands with the planet Venus, the planet of love and communication. So to round all that off, we're going to have some very tricky times with communication that are going to be quite emotional, and everybody's going to be jockeying for position, trying to get their voice across or get their opinion across, because it's the only one that matters. Now, this could spark some very fiery debates, particularly about things that we're very passionate about or things that we feel ownership about. Now, at the same time, it's going to be sort of like you're going to be sort of dissecting this, putting it under the microscope and sort of asking yourself, how does this affect you? How does this really sort of come into my little world? And it's like, I don't really want to know about yours. I'm only bothered about mine. So that in the midst of all this, we have the new moon energy, which is asking us to look at things in a fresh new perspective, release things that are no longer serving us, and start to look for innovative new ways of coming to terms with or making changes in our lives, particularly on an emotional level. So I'm just warning you again, it's not going to be the easiest of new moons this month, but it is going to be a time where I think we can get to the bottom of a lot of issues. And a bit like the Hanged Man, after all the deliberating and delaying that's been going on in our lives, we finally see the truth. We finally see the pathway forward. And I believe from that we can have some major, major breakthroughs. It's just a pity the politicians around the world don't get on board with what's happening with the new moon. Maybe they will. we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So anyway, the famous person I want to focus on this week is one of the world's leading actors, and I don't know that this man really needs any introduction, but I'm going to talk about Tommy Lee Jones. And Tommy Lee Jones is a Libra, and that really surprised me because he plays such gutsy roles, and he's always sort of so forthright and sort of takes you along for the journey as well in whatever role that he's played. And I know I've watched many, many movies with him in it, and each time it's like you sort of just get captivated and get taken along for the journey. So I suppose that's where his Librian energy comes in, that he enables you to sort of really sort of get involved with the character that he's playing and see it from both sides of the equation, the good and the bad. You know, and I'm seeing him in some, you know, very not so nice roles where he's been the baddie, and I've seen him in other roles where he's sort of, you know, really seeking the truth and sort of bringing the good things in life to justice. So there's many, many roles that this man's played, but I think one of my favourite roles would be the mini-series that was out many, many moons ago now called Lonesome Dove. And for those of you that don't know it, it's one of those classics that I think you really need to go back and look at. And it is based on a Western, and it's a really long series. And I mean, there's a number of DVDs in the series, but Lonesome Dove was the first one I saw. And it really captivated me that I had to go back and watch it a couple of times because there was just so many layers to the story. So for those of you that have seen Lonesome Dove, you'll know he played the role of Woodrow F. Call, Captain, and he was one of the Texas Rangers. So anyway, we're going to take our first caller, which is Heather in Port Hope, Ontario, Canada. Are you there, Heather?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Heather. How can I help you today, sweet? Do you have a question I can work with?
Yeah, more looking about where my path is going.
Okay. All right. That's a very general sort of question, Heather, but we'll do what we can with it because sometimes when we ask a general sort of question like that, the powers that be on the other side get a little bit frustrated because they sort of think we could be a little bit more decisive. But the first thing that they're showing me is that this year, 2019 for you, has been about endings, change and transformation, but it's also been about delving inside yourself and understanding your triggers, understanding the things that make you the person that you are and what you've been evolving to become. But they're also now asking me to sort of ask you to put your hand up and sort of say, this is what I want. It's like you've really now got to become proactive in as much as this is what I want out of the next stage of my life. I want more. I deserve more. I've worked hard for more. So has there been some sort of study or some learning that's been going on this year? And it may not necessarily have been work-related. It could have been more about self-improvement or something that you've been interested in, that this has sort of helped shape the direction that you're now going in. Has there been something new that you've been working with?
There has. My husband passed away a couple of years ago now, and I've started dating again. So that would be the change. I've had a boyfriend for the past year.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that your husband passed away, but they were showing it to me more on the level of something that you were doing as if you were encompassing or learning something new. So did you take up a new hobby, or did you start looking into spirituality or learning different things?
I did start looking into spirituality as well, yes.
Yeah, because they're showing me that they want you to keep on that sort of path. It's sort of, you know, I appreciate it's been a very big learning curve for you since you lost your husband, and then sort of reorganising your life and having to go dating again, I think is quite daunting when you get past a certain age, isn't it? That, you know, how the world has changed in that direction. But I also sort of feel that this is opening you up to a lot more new experiences. So would it be fair to say, Heather, that somewhere in this next 12 months we might be looking to make some fairly serious decisions about what the next step is in the relationship?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because I feel that's something that the both of you have sort of thought about, but the energy that your new man is giving me, your boyfriend is giving me, is he doesn't want to rush you. He wants to make sure that you're ready for this next step. You know, he was ready a long time ago, but he's very aware of that you've been through such a change in your life that you have to be the one that is not so much leading the charge, but sort of showing him that you're ready for something more than what you have.
Yeah, that makes sense. He says that sometimes, so.
Yeah, I just sort of feel by about March next year, I think we're sitting down and having a conversation about what next. You know what I mean? We get through the holiday season and we enjoy that in a sort of a fun sort of way, and then sort of, you know, we start the new year and then it's sort of down to business.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and it is good because I feel the two of you are very, very connected. And that's not taking away from what you shared with your late husband. I mean, that chapter of your life will always remain very important and very significant. But, you know, we do have the capability of loving again and loving again in a different, deeper sort of way. You know, each relationship or each serious relationship like this has its own merit. You know, it doesn't mean you loved one person more than the other. It's just they're different.
Right.
Yeah, and don't let anybody tell you that you don't have the right to happiness again. You do.
No, that's right, you do.
Yes, and I know your late husband would want that for you. He would want you to be moving on and being happy, and you know that's what life's meant to be.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't look at it as, you know, is there a certain timetable that we have to abide by before we can sort of reach out and take the next branch of happiness? There is no timetable. You know, that's just people's perceptions of how long it should be. They're not the one walking in your shoes. And as long as you're the one that's comfortable with the pace that your life's going at, you're the only person you have to answer to.
Yeah, that answers a question of mine as well. So.
Yeah, and it's always hard, Heather, because people have this perception of when you've become widowed that all of a sudden you've lost half your brain. You didn't lose half your brain, you lost your husband. And it's something that it doesn't matter, I think, whatever age we might experience that, and I have been through it, so I can speak firsthand at it. And it's like people don't sort of understand that there's so many processes that you have to go through to regain who you are after such a loss like that. But it doesn't mean that you haven't got a brain, that you can't make decisions, that you can't make decisive decisions about where and when and how to do something, that each one of us is different. And if there's one thing I learned through that process was that everybody is individual. Everybody grieves and handles a loss in their own way, and there is no right or wrong way. And I can remember meeting a lady at a bus stop one day, and she must have been fairly intuitive, and she just held my hand and she said to me, "One day you'll wake up and the sky will be blue." And I thought about that and I thought, oh, that's a nice way of putting things. And then she sort of hopped on her bus and I waited for mine. And it was the most comforting words that somebody said to me at that time, because it made sense that, you know, when you first go through the early stages of grief, everything looks very grey and bleak and you don't know what to do and you've got a lot of decisions to make and a lot of choices and changes, and you know, there seems to be so much at the very beginning that needs to be done, and then everybody disappears and then you're left to pick up the pieces and reorganise your life. And there is some grey days, but one day you do wake up and the sky is blue and you're ready to take the reins to life again. And I feel that's what she was talking about. And those words rung true for me for many, many years. And every time I might have had a day where I was feeling a little bit sorry for myself at my loss, I would remember her words. And that would give me great comfort. And, you know, as I've taught people over the years, there is no bus timetable for grief. You'll know when you're ready to take your step out into the world and you're ready to have a new relationship or move or whatever the case may be. And it's got to be entirely your choice, Heather. And I know that you're well and truly on your path and you know exactly where you're going and what you want to achieve. And don't let anybody tell you that. Yeah, and it's your turn now, Heather.
Okay.
So I can only wish you well, because I know you've got a lot of amazing things to look forward to. So just grab everything with both hands and don't look backwards.
Okay. Can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, sure.
Your opinion on, let's say, your opinion on signs from the afterlife type thing.
Oh, look, I believe that, there is an afterlife. I've always believed that. And I've always believed that our spirit guides or our guardian angels are people that we were emotionally connected to. That's always been my personal belief. And people sort of often ask me, well, how come not everybody decides to come back and give us a message? And my argument for that is that some people, whether they've had a belief in spirituality or the afterlife here on earth, doesn't necessarily constitute how they see it from the other side. Some people find it easier to connect with us and others don't. And it doesn't mean one's stronger than the other. I think what you need to do if you're looking for a sign or sort of a message from your late husband is look at something that means something to you. You might walk out and the photos are crooked on the mantle, and he knows that would annoy you. So that's his way of connecting or getting a message to you. Sometimes it comes through a song. Sometimes it'll be something that you see on the TV. It can be a street sign. There's many different methods of them being able to connect with us. But please be assured, nobody's ever come through and told me they don't like it there or they're not comfortable there or they're still in pain or whatever the case may be. I've never had anybody tell me that. They always are with us, regardless of whether we know it or not. They never really leave us. So, if they felt we were really on the wrong path, I think they'd get a message through to us in some sort of way that, hey, maybe you better think about things a little bit differently. And sometimes when you just get a very strong feeling, that's them putting that message in your head. If this is the way that you
feelings I quite often experienced. So.
Yeah, and that'll be your husband giving you a message. He mightn't be able to come down and have a cup of coffee with you at the kitchen table, but that's as good as, And I always suggest to people, if you've got a question for someone that's passed over, ask them out aloud before you go to sleep and tell them you want the answer in your mind first thing in the morning. So then whatever your first thought is first thing in the morning, that's the answer direct from them. And if you look at it along those ways, you'll find then that increases it's like exercise. The more we do, the better we become at it. So the more we try and give them a way to connect with us at a time that is appropriate for us, the stronger the connection becomes. So, your husband's with you all the time and he just wants to see you smile and be happy again.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that.
You're very, very welcome, Heather. We're going to have to leave it there because we're going to go to Vass in London, in England. Are you there, Vass?
Hello?
Hello, Vass. How can I help you, sweetie?
Hi. I just basically I need some directional clarity with regards to where I'm at the moment in terms of my life purpose and what's going on in terms of the fears that I'm going through.
Okay. All right, Vass. The first thing that they're showing me is that I don't know that the picture of your life is completely formulated at the moment. It's like there's many possibilities and there's many different choices or directions that you could go. Now, I'm not saying that to be flippant. I'm saying to you that there's lots of things that have come in and out of your mind this year, but none of them have really been something that I want to grab hold of, that I want to sort of hang on to and say, this is what I want. So until we get that, I want to sort of say to you, just take it very gently. Don't be in too much of a hurry to try and make long-term decisions or choices yet until that something really grabs you. When it really grabs you and you want to hang on to it and you don't want to let go of it, then that's the way that you need to go moving forward. It's also been a year of where I feel we've got into the depths of your mind and really cleared out a lot of old things, like old memories that you've hung on to, old lessons, all those sort of things have come to the surface. We've looked at them, we've processed them, we've put them where we need them to go, and then we've let go of them. And that's a good thing. This is opening you up for the changes that are coming up. And I know this hasn't been the easiest of years because you sort of thought at the beginning of this year things were going to unfold and things were going to be amazing and it was going to be a really positive, upbeat year. And it's like, well, here we are nearly at the end of August and what have I done? Well, you can't sort of turn around and say, this is what I've achieved on a level that we can count it. But let me assure you, you've done an awful lot of work on yourself which is going to hold you in good stead for the changes that are coming about. I do feel that it's almost like you've been reborn. You've become a completely different person to what you were at the beginning of the year, and that's a good thing, because I feel that there was many things there that you were holding on to that were weighing you down, that weren't really productive in your life, and they were causing things to be sort of out of balance. So as we sort of move forward from about the 1st of September this year, I think you'll start to sort of feel some momentum, some energy starting to build, and you'll start to feel a lot more positive. And it's like, wow, I'm starting to get flashes of things that I might be interested in, or a direction that I could be going. So was there a relationship that broke up this year, Vass?
The relationship broke up in 2014, but it's kind of like, yeah.
But was it just the fact that you finally came to terms with everything that was connected to that, that you sort of finally put all the pieces into the puzzle and were able to release it?
I've done a lot of forgiveness work.
Right, okay. Yeah, but that's the same thing as being able to put all the pieces into the puzzle and letting go of it, being able to sort of say, well, that's it, it's now complete. I feel that was really important, because that, you know, you not being able to forgive until this year was holding you back as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. There will be new love. I don't feel it's too far away now before we attract somebody new into your life. I've got a man here with brown hair and green to hazily coloured eyes who's got a bit of a cheeky looking smile. And please don't be offended when I say this, but it's like I want to get him and take him to the dentist because his teeth are crooked. Every time he smiles, he's got this most beautiful smile, but he's got 2 teeth that are sort of crooked, and it's like I want to get the pliers and straighten them up. But, you know, they're not rotten or anything like that. They're just crooked, and it's sort of like, you know, it sort of ruins this beautiful smile he's got. But a really, really lovely man. I feel he's been on his own for some time. I think he went through a very emotional time too that he needed to sort of work through and process and all those sort of things. So life is certainly going to be on more of an upward swing for you as we head, you know, from the 1st of September onwards towards the end of the year. Halfway through next year, I feel, Vass, that there will be a big decision about whether you're going to stay in the current job that you're in, or is it time to start looking for something new. I feel it'll be time to start looking for something new, but certainly rewards are starting to come back to you this year. And it's like all the hard work, all the effort that you've done is now finally starting to pay off. It's interesting because that forgiveness work that you did on yourself, I don't think that was only just to do with the relationship. I feel that went way back over a number of issues. And I'd almost even say a number of lifetimes, where you came into this lifetime where you did a number of the same lessons over and over and over again. And it's like you forgave yourself for everything that you'd never completed before, or things that you'd always sort of buried away. You were never good at confronting your emotions until this year. And that's a good thing. That's a huge step forward, to be able to confront your emotions, deal with them, own what part you were responsible for, but also release the parts that you weren't responsible for, that you couldn't have changed even if you wanted to. As much as you tried to, things didn't change. So I think you deserve a packet of gold stars, Vass, for the work that you've done on yourself this year. And I can only wish you well with everything that's coming your way, because you've got a really good life coming towards you now, and that's very exciting.
Thank you so much.